This chart is the reason that AI is not making developers obsolete anytime soon. In fact, it shows how development skills are more valuable than ever, and this is not a phenomena of just one product. It affects every product that gives people who are not developers some degree of ability to code. And the way AI model progress has been plateauing lately suggests this may not change anytime soon, if ever. Anyone who's not a developer but has used tools like Bolt or Cursor or V0 to build basic applications from prompts know all too well the pit of death that you eventually always fall into. Things start fast and awesome. The basic scaffold of your page or your site or even some of the basic functionality comes in seconds. But then you start prompting more and more, and you start to struggle more in getting what you want out of it. As the application gets more complex, the behaviors you're looking for don't seem to come out quite as easily. And then eventually, some prompt you use breaks everything. Nothing works, and no matter what you try, the AI cannot get out of this corner. That's the pit of death, and I've seen it happen over and over and over. Some esoteric bug is just too challenging for the LLM to solve on its own, and then that's it, your app is done. If you find yourself lucky enough to not land in a pit of death, you'll probably hit a plateau of death instead, where again, after a certain number of prompts, you just don't seem to be able to make progress anymore. There's truly only one fix for these situations, and that is you gotta roll up your sleeves and get in the code and fix whatever the AI couldn't. Whether that means solving some very esoteric bug or implementing some features so that the AI can continue off of your implementation, there's always a point where the human is needed. Even if the model's got 10x better, I don't think you'll actually offset the development need by that much. The reality is LLMs are good at code generation, but code generation and writing is only one part of many of software development. And in my experience, when an engineer comes in to unblock the AI, the next pit of death is just right around the corner. And as the application gets more complex, you need the developer intervention more and more in shorter and shorter intervals. Eventually what ends up happening is you go from products that don't require any development to ultimately exporting that code and needing developers to fully take it over. And now the developers use different tools that are similar but more focused on code editing. And that's not to say that the tools that didn't require development in the beginning aren't useful. They actually can be incredibly useful for things like prototyping.
This is hold on. This is a good case of you guys aren't developers. You guys don't know what you don't know. So you guys are using V0 Bolt, Builder.io, and like thinking you guys are full stack developers until you reach a full stack problem. And then you see what tools we use and you're like, what the fuck is that? Leave the professional stuff to the pros. You feel me? If you can't build the app, just pay a nigga to do it. At least it'll be cheaper to maintain. And if you don't want to pay someone to do it, then you'll have to live with whatever issues your app has. It's no in
Didn't
between.
require development in the beginning aren't useful, they actually can be incredibly useful for things like prototyping, making simple internal tools, and micro applications like a pricing calculator. Now, the big question is how do you use these things to make your lives better as an engineer, designer, product manager, marketer, whatever your role is? I think there's a few heavily overlooked use cases that you could adopt in your workflows now to make your life a lot better by using these tools and leaning into where they're going. As an engineer myself, the two things that drive me the most insane are poorly written specifications, where we didn't fully understand the problem and what really is needed to solve it, and ever-changing requirements, where it turns out our original guesses were wrong, customers and feedback told us different things, and now halfway through building the thing, we're changing how we're doing it and everything's becoming a mess. In my experience, you have to get hands-on with an application to really know how it needs to be used. Even better, get it in real users' hands, even if it's not fully functional.
That is
Just
a
having users
funny
go through the
photo.
actual flows and testing the things that looked good in wireframes and designs, but maybe actually don't feel right in practice, can really help improve your product UX. But if you have to build the whole thing before you learn that, that's wildly inefficient and can lead to very messy code bases. Alternatively, with these rapid prototyping AI tools, we can iterate before we actually commit to building the full thing. We can try out the flows even if all functionality is not there. If we're lucky, we can even get direct user feedback in small ways and learn as much as possible early before we then commit to a finalized spec and building the real full application. But there's other implications I believe coming soon too. While I don't think programming is going away at all, I think it will change. I think every year we're going to see a major reduction in actually handwritten CSS code. The same way you don't handwrite a PDF, you export it from a tool. Design and design to code tools are becoming so good that they can generate CSS for you, shockingly close to how you would have written it yourself. In doing that, we can stay exactly true to the original design spec and avoid a lot of redlining and back and forth to make this look correct. But I don't think it needs to stop there. I think looking to the future, the big question is how do we get more tedious development off of our plates so that developers don't need to update colors, add a simple section, modify text, tweak some logic? If marketing or product or design needs small changes, how can we give the tooling like they'd have for a fresh new app with something like Bolts, but compatible with a real application with
Honestly, don't tell him. Because I feel like he's just gonna implement it in his app and then make it harder for you guys to decipher if you need a developer or not. Great business, but it's usually people like that that don't have the best products unless you pay for the premium plan. So the new agent mode on Cursor is huge. I've been developing a large complex app and there are issues, but we'll work through it on that. Making progress. I think the main issue are the context and understanding that overall ability for the model I'm not gonna lie to you. If you do have a project, and this is what my mentor usually told me when it comes to project, you give yourself 3 days. If you can't see yourself making an MVP in 3 days, then like you either need to one, work on your skills, and I'm talking about 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours, not like 12 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours. My mentor worked at SpaceX, so he was part psychotic. That's what I always told him. He thought certain shit that was like annoying was fun. So he said you take a whole weekend, you build it. He would go to Burning Man and just sit there and like build shit. Dude, you would think it's impossible, but in 3 days, you lock yourself and just focus on that one thing. I don't think it'll take a year. That's what I'm saying. I don't think like a lot of these projects will take a year.
really
So some of the workarounds and stuff that y'all getting into, like let's say one day you can't figure out this bug. It may be that you're not that good at that area too. Like we're putting a lot of pressure on AI to do things that we train it to do. You get what I mean? So you may not be good at the area you're asking AI to do it. You may not even be explaining it to a point where he can teach you how to be good. Always keep that into consideration when you're using these models because you have to be good, not like average or the average Joe. Like you have to be, this data is going to be trained against itself to get the best version of itself. Like Devin, they hacked into Devin and 5 Devins already fixed it before it was a huge internal issue. So you, as a developer, have to genuinely be good, not like average. And then next year, you probably have to be great. And in the year after, you probably have to be AGI. So just understand this tech space, it ain't for like not good people. If you suck at coding, just struggle. If you don't know how to problem solve, like if I tell you I need help with this and you can't even speak it out to me, that's an issue. So remember, you it's okay to be not confident in your ability, but at what point do you let a nigga know that you know what you're talking about?
users and real developers that work on it daily. Luckily, I work on a team that built one of these products, so I can just show you what's coming soon, specifically around how AI could better fold into full team workflows and automate a lot more than just an initial prototype creation. The first interesting one is something called code sync. This is where you can not just convert a design to code with AI, but you can then modify the code, and when the design updates again, there's a link back to the code, so the code gets granularly updated with just the design change, without developers having to do that by hand at all. So let's say AI converted the design to code, you added all kinds of logic and modifications. Now the design has new colors, new buttons, modified text, and tweaked styles. With Code Sync, you can just push the changes right back to your codebase with the most granular update possible and review and merge it. This is currently in private beta and we're hoping to roll it out soon. Another interesting and under-leveraged approach.
Yeah, because I was about to say you guys have like a little GitHub thing project going on over there, which is cool. Like I'm all for it. I'm all for it. See, you get that onto your platform, I'll be a happy buyer, and I'm a developer. I'll boop, boop, boop.
Approach that already exists today is using a deeply AI integrated CMS. So in the case of Builder, what you
So
can do is
actually
section
taking
off parts of your site or app and decide what regions can be controlled by the CMS. These regions can be assigned to specific teams, like the homepage body goes to the marketing team, a hero section goes to a merchandising team, etc. And then you can use generative AI just like you would with Bolt, Cursor, Zero, or whatever. But the updates go directly to the site or app published over an API. Think of it as like Bolt embedded in your site and app with whatever rules and restrictions you want around it. What that unlocks is not just crazy generative AI use cases within your live sites and apps, but it opens up two other really interesting use cases. The first one is integrating agents into this AI CMS structure. One use case we're
That's why
exploring
I
is being
waited.
able to have like a Slack bot where you might have a conversation about what you'd like to
Alright, so here's what I'll say, Builder. I know where y'all going with it, and I think that you were the first person to buy Devin. Don't do it, bro. One of the issues I faced when making an LLM was like I couldn't get it off my computer once it was there. Like I had to like force delete it, shut my computer down, and do a whole bunch of like restarting to ensure that it was deleted. And it was on a flash drive, bro. You're gonna put an AI agent on your program, controlling all the data and information that goes through. You are 100% going to get issues like sending messages to the wrong team, or missed orders, or free orders. Something that's like out of this world that you may or may not want to use AI agents ever again. The only reason I'm saying that is because you can't guarantee what response they're gonna give you. They train on too much parameters, and whatever you tell it could mean something completely different than what another person would tell it. The prime time spent, what, 20 to 25 hours trying to convince Devin to push his code to
change in your
commit, bro.
homepage or ID.
Push his code to commit, bro. And it was to the point where he was trying not to get frustrated. But like, why is there so much back talk or banter or like, as a developer, you'll get it. You feel me? Like, it's so much tedious stuff that you gotta go around when working with generative AI or LLMs. It's like a parent trying to figure out what you want to eat. Like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. I want McDonald's, Chipotle, Popeyes. All the parent wants to know is what you want to eat, bro. The little generative AI in front of us is seeing a whole bunch of fuck shit. Like, come on now, just pick one answer so we could go there and come back, bro. Like, I got stuff to do. That's what it's like using an AI agent. And I don't think Devin is going to be the best, like, the best. I ran this as a 10% test and we saw.
Ideas on things you could do differently, and you just tag the builder agent in Slack, and it'll read the conversation, apply the suggestions as like a 5 or 10% test, and then come back a week later and let you know how that test performed. In this world, for those self contained regions that are probably more marketing focused, and things you don't really need or want to have in code anyway, the agent could just make those updates end to end autonomously and do the tedious work and just let you know what the results are each time. We could even take that one step further and let the AI auto optimize things. So in a CMS like Builder, where all content is also tied to analytics, when you produce content through the CMS, the AI agent can automatically start creating A B test variations, leveraging context it already knows about your business, and finding what variant converts best and scaling that up to 100% of traffic completely.
So that is a great analysis, but on the flip side, what if the information or data that you're inputting just doesn't have the same impact as another LLM model? Like you limiting yourself by making it a Slack bot, bro. Like there's a whole bunch of different models out there. Like 5.4 just came out. Granted, this video came out 13 days ago, but like, there's a whole bunch of LLMs that you could train, like build a train. It doesn't have to be an integration. And I think that's what we got to get more into. Like, not everything has to be an integration into the world or whatever brain that we're trying to feed. Make your own product, make sure it's a good product and that the data isn't like faulty. That is literally what AI and LLM should be used for on a day-to-day basis. Not to run our lives. It should just be there as like a kind of like a helper to allow us to gauge what's going on in front of us. I feel like we're putting too much power in the AI's hand, and we're doing that because we were never that good in the idea of tech. Like, and there's a lot of fallacy in tech. Like, we're making breakthrough or a lot of like advancements, Give me the biggest advancement we had ever since Tesla came out. Give me the biggest advancement we had ever since the iPhone came out. What about laptops? Gaming laptops were the best thing that happened, but after that, what happened? Or gaming PCs, gaming everything. So we're at like a plateau, like what you're saying right now. Like we're definitely plateauing, but it's so funny how humans will blame the AI rather than notice how we, as a generation and species, just plateaued when it came to our evolution. The fact that AI has the potential to outpace human evolution by years and years and years is mind blowing, bro. And there's nothing we can do about it. And humans are not young, nigga. We been in this bitch for a minute. AI been in this world for two, I'm not even gonna say 2 years, 2 human years or three, 4 good human years, bro. I need an AI to human converter. Because honestly, I don't want to keep saying that it's 4 years. I feel like that's too much disrespect to the AI. In 4 years, AI ChatGPT was 7 years old. Can you believe that in 4 human years of time, Open AI ChatGPT turned 7? What more? What more is there to say? Like that doesn't even mathematically make sense to a human. It does to an AI though.
autonomously. It could also take your audiences and create personalized versions of content for each audience and play with the knobs to make sure every piece of content is as highly converting as possible in a 100% automatic way. And if you take that one step further, you can even see we're not that far away from a world where we can do one-to-one personalization, where the AI is generating parts of the user journey in real time as they're browsing. So as you browse the site or app, or I do, we could see completely different flows optimized for exactly us, generated by LLMs in real time. This one's probably the furthest because we have to worry about cost and latency. But as more and more LLM optimized hardware comes out, and we're seeing up to 5x gains in speed and efficiency of inference, this might not actually be that far away. So while I don't think everyone will be a developer overnight because of AI, and I do think the more you have development skills, the more you can use the AI to generate code, unblock yourself, and do incredible things. I think the biggest unlock that's coming is better connecting the AI tools with your existing teams and workflows to be able to build and iterate on real applications faster than traditional methods while maximizing the skills of everyone. And we all build better products faster together and focus on our unique skills and creativity and less of redundant menial work.
Now, the one-to-one theory you had, I never thought of it like that. And now that you're thinking of it like that, it gives me time to flirt with your idea, which is what programming is. Oof. Ideas being flirted with. No one got to be right. I definitely see that one to one. Like, I definitely see a time period, and this goes back to the labor market where a lot of jobs will be like behind the screen. So if I'm a user shopping or doing whatever I'm doing, there's gonna be another, what I would say, person behind there monitoring the agent, probably supervising the website or whatever. But that'll be done on a mass level. Every customer a business has is gonna have its own individual person behind the screen. Like I get that one to one that you're saying. It sounds it sounds like something that I'd be waiting for. Like peer to peer, like shopping and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like imagine shopping with your buddy online, or imagine like experience that's gonna be seen by the other party on the other side of the phone because of how AI and well, I guess you could say integration right now, because that is your theory. So AI and the integration of bots and agents. I don't know. I can't wait till Builder does something new, honestly. Like I don't know.